The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In 1959, a group of 9 young Russian hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, embarked on an expedition to Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union. Their goal was to reach the summit of Otorten, a remote and challenging peak. In Italy, everything about their journey seemed ordinary. However, a few days later, their frozen bodies were discovered in mysterious and horrifying conditions, giving rise to one of history's most chilling unsolved mysteries. The journey begins. The hikers, all experienced mountaineers, set out in late January. They documented their progress with diaries and photos. On February 1, they pitched their tent on the slopes of Kholat Siaghl, a mountain whose name in the local Mansi language translates to Dead Mountain. That night would be their last. The grim discovery. Weeks later, when the group failed to return search terms, were sent to find them, but they discovered baffled everyone. The hikers' tent had been slashed open from the inside, suggesting they had fled in a panic. Tracks in the snow showed that the hikers left the tent barefoot or wearing minimal clothing. Despite the freezing conditions, the bodies were found scattered in various locations, some near the camp and others hundreds of meters away. Several of the hikers had died from hypothermia, but others showed signs of traumatic injuries, including fractured skulls and broken ribs. These injuries were so severe that they were linked to those caused by a car crash. One hiker's body was missing its tongue and eyes. Radioactive traces were found on some of their clothing. Theories and speculations. Over the decades, countless theories have been proposed to explain tragedy. Avalanche. Some believe the group panicked and fled after an avalanche threatened their camp. Military experiments. Others speculate that secret Soviet military tests involving explosives or radiation may have caused the incident. Aliens or paranormal activity. The presence of strange lights in the sky reported by other hikers in the area foiled theories of UFOs or supernatural involvement. Animal or human attack. Some theories suggest they were attacked by wild animals or a local indigenous tribe, but the evidence doesn't support these claims. The mystery of Camp David in the Rocky Mountains. Winter 1985. In the harsh winter of 1985, 4 friends, Mike, Sarah, Jim, and Alex, decided to embark on a snowy adventure deep in the Rocky Mountains. Their destination was an abandoned cabin known as Camp David, nestled in a remote part of the mountains. The cabin could only be reached via a treacherous, snow-covered trail. Locals warned them about the cabin, claiming it was haunted. Strange stories circulated about past visitors who experienced bizarre and terrifying incidents. However, the friends dismissed these tales as mere folklore and head out, excited for the adventure. Reaching the cabin, the journey was grueling. Heavy snow and biting winds slowed them down, but after hours of hiking, they finally reached the cabin. Inside, it was as eerie as the story had suggested, an untouched relic of the past. Dusty furniture, a broken wooden table, and a cold, ancient fireplace greeted them. That first night, as they huddled around the fire, an unsettling sound broke the silence. Footsteps crunching in the snow outside. Mike grabbed a flashlight and went out to investigate, but he found nothing. His friends teased him, saying it was probably a small animal, but Mike was convinced he had seen a shadow flicker in the corner of his eye. The strange nights began. On the second night, things got weirder. Jim woke up screaming. He said he had dreamed of a tall man wearing old-fashioned clothes and a black hat, staring at him from the corner of the room. His dream unnerved the group, but they brushed it off as a bad nightmare. The next morning, they found fresh footprints in the snow around the cabin. What unsettled them was that the prints led toward the cabin, but never away from it. A hate of terror. On the third night, Sarah disappeared. The friends searched everywhere, inside and outside the cabin, but couldn't find her. Suddenly, they heard her scream from the nearby woods. When they ran toward the sound, they found Sarah standing still in the snow, staring at something invisible. Her face was expressionless, her eyes cold and empty. They brought her back inside, but she wouldn't speak. She simply stared at the cabin wall, motionless. That night, none of them slept. Around midnight, soft knocks echoed on the wooden door. Each time they opened it, but no one was there. A tragic end. By the fourth morning, they decided to leave the cabin despite the relentless snow. But when they prepared to head back, they discovered that their tracks from the journey in had vanished under freshly fallen snow, as if someone or something wanted to keep them there. 3 weeks later, a search party found the group. Of the four, only Mike was alive, severely frostbitten and traumatized. He kept muttering, "He is still there. He is still there." Mike never revealed what truly happened, but locals still believe Camp David is haunted. They say that the spirit of a man murdered there in the 1890s roams the snowy woods, drawing unsuspecting visitors to their doom. Real scary story. The snowbound murders of the Cormick Valley. In the early 1980s, deep in the Appalachian Mountains of Pennsylvania, there was an isolated area known as McCormick Valley. Due to its harsh winters and heavy snowfall, the region was largely abandoned. A few old families had lived there decades prior, but McCormick Valley was best known for a chilling legend, the snowbound murders of McCormick Valley. The beginning. In January 1982, a group of 4 college students, eager for adventure, decided to spend their winter break exploring this remote area. Equipped with the modern gear and a daring spirit, they ventured into the snow-covered forests of McCormick Valley. Local tales of eerie disappearances and strange happenings had unnerved them, but they dismissed these stories as mere folklore. One of the most infamous tales from the valley was the mysterious disappearance of a family in the winter of 1943. The last known as sighting of the family was by a neighbor who claimed they were seen walking into the snow, never to return. No bodies or traces were ever found. While some believed the family succumbed to the cold, others whispered of something malevolent lurking in the snow. On their first night, the students stayed in an old, abandoned cabin. The air was bitterly cold, and the howling wind created an unsettling atmosphere. Around midnight, one of the students, Michael, heard strange noises outside the cabin. Stepping out, he saw nothing but snow and silence until he noticed human footprints in the freshly fallen snow. The tracks led into the forest and vanished. A disappearance. On the second day, the group decided to explore the surrounding area. While hiking, one of them, Lara, mysteriously disappeared. Her footprints trailed off toward the valley, but ended abruptly, as if she had been plucked from the ground. Terrified, the remaining 3 returned to their cabin, deciding to wait until daylight before making any decisions. The second night, a face in the snow. That night, the atmosphere grew even more oppressive. Emily, one of the students, claims she saw a face staring at them through the frosted window. She described it as a man with ragged clothing and a snow-covered face, standing completely still and watching the cabin. When the others looked, there was nothing there. But when they stepped outside, they found fresh footprints circling the cabin. The final escape. Throughout the night, the students heard soft footsteps crunching in the snow, pacing around the cabin. At dawn, only two of them were left. David, one of the group, had vanished during the night, just like Lara, now trembling with fear and exhaustion. The remaining two fled valley as fast as they could. When they finally returned to the nearest town and recounted their story, no one believed them. Months later, a search team went into the valley but found no signs of the cabin, the missing students, or even their tracks, only endless, untouched snow. The legend lives on. The snowbound murders of McCormick Valley remain one of the region's most chilling unsolved mysteries. Some believe the valley is cursed, while others claim an otherworldly force uses the snow and cold as the weapon.